Peace, 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 peace. What it is, what it is, what it is, man. This is Chief Kalanago with another video. Once again, just like to drop, the information just to keep you informed. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to pay attention and your eyes gotta be open. All right? Your eyes gotta be open. And hopefully, this will be accomplished with the videos that I do and I've been doing. I always like to give thanks to the Great Spirit, give thanks to my ancestors for allowing me to be used as a vessel of hope, enlightenment, awakening to the people. So I'm going to share this with you. This video or information I'm about to share is coming from MSN, and that was literally, I think, a few hours ago, but it was definitely earlier today. So let's break down some of these codes that these people speak with. Okay, let's rock.
We turn now to Neil Kashkari, President and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. He also led the Treasury Department's 2008 TARP program. He joins us from Minneapolis. Thank you for joining us. Clearly, you know what a crisis is like and how to navigate one. I want to ask you about the jobs crisis right now, because 16 million Americans have filed for unemployment since these restrictions went into place due to the virus.
All right, you hear that? Over 16 million United States citizens, I'm not going to say Americans, United States citizens, all right, have filed for unemployment thus far due to this virus. Okay, over 16 million so far.
The St. Louis Fed says we could see 47 million Americans losing their jobs. Where is your prediction on the bottom?
Well, all right, so they have a projection. April, all right, over 6 million people. You know what I'm saying? But so far, you have heard the numbers, and they have this gentleman. He's gonna drop some statistics on y'all, but I want you to pay attention, okay? Pay attention.
Million Americans losing their jobs. Where is your prediction on the bottom?
Well, we just don't know. I've been listening to your program this morning, Margaret, and we just don't know the path of the virus. That's going to determine how long the shutdown needs to take place.
You hear that? They don't know. Even the feds don't know how long this shutdown is going to take place. All right? He said we are looking at the pattern of the virus. Come on, man. It's either y'all know or you don't know. What they're truly waiting to see is how the corona, meaning that the gold, okay, the crown, how is it going to shake the economy? You see what I'm saying? Because remember, it went from one virus, which was the Federal Reserve notes, stepping into another. They may call it a cure, so to speak, but it's still another virus. You see what I'm saying? Because it's still another form of currency. When the truth of the matter is, like I've always told y'all, you are the true energy. We are the true currency of life, of any economy. The people are the true currency. So anything else is literally still going to be another form of currency that they create, and they're still going to have control over. But pay attention to the language. You see, that's the key. The language, the words that are being used, you have to just, when you listen, you have to hear. And when you hear, you have to hear with comprehension. All right, so let's listen to this again.
Your prediction on the bottom.
Well, we just don't know. I've been listening to your program this morning, Margaret, and we just don't know the path of the virus. That's going to determine how long the shutdown needs to take place, and ultimately how many Americans lose their jobs and how quickly we can get them back to work when the economy turns back on. So
you hear that? They don't know the path of the virus. So if you don't know the path of the virus, then how can you create a vaccine if you don't know the path of the virus? Once again, family, listen, man. Yeah, I want you to hear what I'm saying. But hear what this dude is pushing. Okay? Listen. And hear, people, I want you to hear.
A wide range of estimates of how wide or how high the unemployment rate is going to go, but it's all driven by the virus and how effective we are in the healthcare system is to catching up and to controlling it.
So these estimates or predictions of a V-shaped economy, that the economy is just going to turn right back on, people go back to work, is overly optimistic.
Now, she spoke about the V-shaped economy. All right, for those of you who haven't heard that term, once again, these people speaking codes, all right? But let me just explain to you what that is, all right? In a V-shaped recession, okay, they never speak, do you see people, family, man, ooh. Anyway, you only speak of a V-shaped economy, all right, when there's a recession. She just didn't want to say it, okay? But when you speak of a V-shape, all right, when in regards to economy, they're speaking of a recession. But they don't want to put a pandemic of fear in regards to saying it's a recession, but they would rather put a pandemic of fear saying that it's a coronavirus. Once again, family, like I said, you have to know the language that is being spoken, the codes, all right? So in a V-shaped recession, the economy suffers a sharp but brief period of economic decline with a clearly defined trough, followed by a strong recovery. V-shaped are the normal shape for the recession, as the strength of the economy recovery is typically closely related to the severity of the preceding recession. All right? So we are in a recession. And I'm not saying this to, once again, I'm not saying this to promote fear. I just want you to know the codes that's being spoken, the language that's being spoken, and you may not understand it because you do not speak it. All right? So I'm going to repeat that again. In a V-shaped recession, that's the only time you start, once you start dealing with the economy and you start talking about the V-shape, you are talking about a recession and the recovery. All right? Is the path of that reset from the recession to the recovery. That's called a V-shaped, all right? So a V-shaped recession, the economy suffers a sharp but brief decline with a clearly defined trough, followed by a strong recovery. Shapes are the normal shape for recession. All right, so there is going to be a sharp incline, in other words, that the economy is going to get back stronger. But it's contingent not on the coronavirus flu like they're telling you, all right? But it's literally how soon or how quickly or how effective the change, the reset of the currency, okay? They're gonna pump into the system when all this is said and done. So I want you to pay attention to the language.
I think so. It'd be wonderful if some new therapy were developed in the next couple months, that people could have confidence to go back to work, that they could get treatment. Then potentially we would have a V-shaped recovery. But barring some healthcare miracle like that, it seems like we're going to have.
And again, why are you showing a carbon skinned man when you're talking about that? You see what I'm saying? You got to pay attention. There is nothing that's done, and it's a coincidence. All right? I want people to pay attention in general, but I really want our people to pay attention. Okay? Pay attention.
Various phases of rolling flare-ups, as we heard from your guest from Washington, different parts of the economy turning back on, maybe turning back off again. This could be a long, hard road that we have ahead of us until we get to either an effective therapy or a vaccine.
You hear that? Effective therapy or a vaccine. Pay attention, people. Now they're stepping into the vaccine has to be mandatory for us to go back into a fully recovered economy. Pay attention. They said what? An effective, okay? An effective or sufficient, let me, I don't want to misquote what the man is saying. Let's listen to this again.
Until we get to either an effective therapy or a vaccine.
Effective therapy or a vaccine. So for those of you who don't want to take the vaccine, make sure you have an effective therapy. I'm going to let you hear it again. Hear it again.
That we have ahead of us until we get to either an effective therapy or a vaccine.
All right. Effective therapy or a vaccine. So I can't tell you what to do. But if it were me, I would start looking into natural and holistic remedies opposed to these vaccines. You see what they're getting ready to push. But y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna learn. I've been talking to you guys for years now. It's all coming into fruition. Pay attention. And I guarantee you, this is not the only time he's gonna talk about the vaccine. Listen.
It's hard for me to see a V-shaped recovery under that scenario.
Well, it looks like Congress and the administration underestimated.
It's hard for me to see a V-shaped recovery under that scenario. We heard from your guest from Washington, different parts of the economy, turning back on, maybe turning back off again. This could be a long, hard road that we have ahead of us until we get to either an effective therapy or a vaccine. It's hard for me to see a V-shaped recovery under that scenario.
Well, it looks like Congress and the administration underestimated the amount of pain small business owners are in. Their predictions that the $350 billion put aside could be exhausted, and that's why Congress is talking about adding another $250 billion. They're fighting about it at least. What will the impact be if Congress doesn't make that package bigger this week?
Well, I think it's very important. A lot of small businesses are saying they want to keep their business together. They want to keep their employees employed, which is really, really important so that we don't have even more job losses. So that's good. The banks are trying to step in. The small businesses are trying to do their part. But we know that the $350 billion is not going to meet the needs across all of the small businesses in America. So it'll end up being first come, first served, who end up getting the assistance and who's left on the sidelines. I'm optimistic. I think Congress will come together to provide more support to small businesses. But then again, we don't know if this support is going to be long enough, because if we need to have different phases of shutdowns for the next several months or until—
You hear that? Now, pay attention, right? So they had over $350 billion put aside, right, to help small businesses. But you heard that? It was on a first come, first serve basis. Now, let me ask you, what connections do we have as a people where we are actually at the table to know when these things are being put in place so that we could be in a position to be one of the first come, first serve? That's why I keep telling y'all, all right? You have to be at the table, family. You have to have a seat at the table to be a player in this game. But y'all are gonna hear my words eventually. Soon enough, somebody's gonna hear me. You gotta be at the table. All right? Pay attention.
Until we have a therapy or vaccine, because if we need to have different phases of shutdowns for the next several months or until we have a therapy or vaccine.
You hear that? They're gonna have different phases of shutdowns for several months. So we already in April, and they're saying that this was gonna end in April, right? April 30th, right? But here up to date, this man is saying for several months until we have what? He keeps saying again, an effective therapy, all right? I think that's what he said, or a vaccine. That's the second time he repeated that. Let's listen again.
They're going to need more help for the next several months or until we have a therapy or vaccine.
Okay, for the next several months until we have effective therapy or vaccine. So that means you have a choice. And that's the second time he has said that. So if I don't want your vaccine, you cannot force me to take your vaccine, because I'm going to prove to you and show you I got what you call a sufficient, I think it's called therapy. And me, I'm going to keep it holistic 100 all the way. I am thankful we got a master herbalist in our nation. I'm thankful for that.
They're going to need more help than that.
Right. And the Fed is part of this strategy because, as we detailed this week, there are about $2.3 trillion in loans that the Federal Reserve, that you're part of, could issue to businesses, to states, and to local governments. You said in the last crisis that the mistake was going sort of too small and being too timid. This time around, is there enough money being thrown at this problem?
I think there is in terms of what the Fed can do. I think our chairman is being very, very aggressive. He's learned from our experience in 2008, and the whole Federal Reserve is being as aggressive as possible. That's the right thing to do. I think Congress is also being very aggressive. But again, it goes back to the progression of the virus. If we're going to have economic distress until we have a vaccine.
You hear that again? On economic distress. All right? This is what this is all about, family. The flu, so-called virus, is just a distraction. It's about an economic distress. All right? Because the system was being run by the blood in the system. Currency is like blood. Okay? And the blood in the system was of a fiat currency. Okay? It was running off of something that was not real. So now it's changing to something they consider a little more real. So now it's a little bit distressed. It didn't say stressed, because stress is good. You see, I'm teaching y'all some things. Because if somebody's getting a heart attack, what do? They put stress on the heart with the defibrillator. They put stress. So that means stress is good. What's not good is de-stress. Man, somebody talk to them. Let's listen to this again. Pay attention.
We're going to have economic distress.
You hear that? Economic distress. Economic distress. Gotta pay attention. That means pressure is being put. The same way when somebody's having a heart attack, they de-stress the heart. They put stress on the heart because the heart was being distressed. So stress is good. Okay? Keep that in mind. All right? De-stress is bad. Y'all gonna learn.
Until we have a vaccine, then it's going to be up to Congress to keep coming back to provide support for them.
You hear that? So we're gonna have an economic distress until we have a vaccine. So the only way to solve this problem is to what? Have a vaccine. That's the third time he has said that. How many times did the allegorical Peter deny the allegorical Jesus? 3 times. Y'all gonna learn today. 3 times. Okay? 3 times. All right, let's proceed.
People, we can't shut down the economy for 18 months, but we need to find ways of getting the people who are healthy, who are at lower risk, back to work, and then providing the assistance to those who are most at risk, who are going to need to be quarantined or isolated for the foreseeable future. That's
You hear that? And what they're going to do is, for those that are willing to go back to work, okay, they have to be vaccinated. And for those who don't want to be vaccinated, will be quarantined for the foreseeable future. All right.
A real challenge for all of us.
Your colleague, James Bullard of the St. Louis Fed, was with us last week, and he said that the answer lies fully in technology. It's testing and surveillance, getting people before they walk into their employer to have a test and wear a badge. I mean, is that your guidance here too?
Well, I would love it if that were possible. I've talked to some healthcare experts who say that it's a fantasy, that we're going to be able to test tens of millions of people every day, that there simply is not the equipment, there's not the supply chain. I hope they're wrong. That's a real concern. I don't think we should put all of our eggs only in the mass testing basket. We should try to make that work. We should also invest fully in vaccines, fully in therapies. But then I think we're going to need to be smart about how we start to reopen parts of the economy with those who are at lowest risk until that capacity and that testing and those vaccines and therapies come online. I think we need an all of
You hear that again? They keep pushing. You see, it has to be redundant. You see, that's how you get the brainwash. So people are in panic and in fear. Oh, I need a vaccine. I gotta get a vaccine. The vaccine is what's killing you. But you have options. You hear that? Therapy. Okay? Now, that could be holistic therapy opposed to the vaccine. Let's proceed.
Many Americans this month had to suspend their mortgage payments. They just couldn't pay because of what their reality is. And I know Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, has said they're watching carefully the mortgage servicers. What is the degree of risk here that we are looking at some kind of housing crisis, financial crisis?
Well, we know that ultimately, if this goes on long enough, these losses roll up into the banking sector. People don't pay their mortgage. A coffee shop doesn't pay their landlord. The landlord then can't pay the bank's mortgage. And so it ends up rolling up into the banking sector. Right now, the banks are well capitalized relative to where they were in 2006. But if this goes on long enough, it could produce strains in the banking sector. And then the Fed and Congress and Treasury would have to step in and make sure that the banks are sound. So it's something I think we're all watching very closely.
Well, the truth of the matter is you already paid for your house. So if people were just intelligent enough, they should be able to file something in every court, okay, saying that this debt has already been satisfied. I did a video and spoke to you guys about the Lord's release. After 7 years, which is actually the same thing as a chapter 7, your debt is forgiven. Okay? So that takes care of the mortgage problem. If everybody were just to come together and implement that, that's it, it's done. But once again, those who have ears, let them hear.
You say long enough. What is the timeline that you're worried about?
I'm focusing on 18 months because we're looking around the world as they relax the economic controls, the virus flares back up again. And that makes intuitive sense because so many people have the disease, but they don't show any symptoms. So you don't know who's spreading the disease and who isn't. So we could have these waves of flare-ups, controls, flare-ups, and controls until we actually get a therapy or a vaccine. I think we should all be focusing on an 18-month strategy for our healthcare system and our economy. If it ends up being shorter than that, that's great. We should prepare for the worst case scenario.
All right. Neil Kashkari, thank you for your insights.
You hear that? So this could potentially go on for 18 months. Man, y'all think this is a game? Huh? Y'all think this is a game, right? America should be ready for 18 months of shutdown, Fed official, and that was what? 13 hours ago. Okay, 13 hours ago. So just imagine that. Okay? And now people just gonna sit around and allow these people to play these games? Anyway, I'm gonna take that link, put it in the video below. You go ahead and do your reading, do your own research. I'm just opening up your mind to what's happening. Okay? To what's happening. See where all this is going. And I'm gonna say this again. Ain't nobody gonna put no vaccine in my arms, I'll tell you that. Because I don't need their jobs, period. Anyway, do what y'all gotta do. I'm just here to bring the information. I'm just the messenger. Peace and love, all right? Talk to you guys soon.